Hello there, Steve-Os. It is that time of the year, by the way, where I'm going to go through my top 20 movies of 2025 as we now fast approach the end of 2025 and we start the new chapter that is 2026. I just want to wish my followers, my viewers, my subscribers a massive happy new year. I really do hope that you guys do have a safe and wonderful new year, whatever you guys are up to. Before I do go into my top 20 movies of 2025, I just want to go through the movies that was in my top 20 movies of 2025 so far when I did that list back in July earlier this year. So at number 20 was Plankton the movie. Number 19 was K-pop Demon Hunters. Number 18 was Lilo and Stitch, the live action movie. Number 17 was Havoc. Number 16 was How to Train Your Dragon, the live action 2025 film. Number 15 was Ballerina. Number 14 was Predator Killer of Killers. Number 13 was Elio by Pixar. Number 12 was Superman. Number 11 was Thunderbolts, the New Avengers. Number 10 was Fantastic Four, The First Steps. Number 9 was Heart Eyes. Number 8 was Drop. Number 7 was The Parenting. Number 6 was Final Destination Bloodlines. Number 5 was 28 Years Later. Number 4 was Companion. Number 3 was the 4:30 movie. Number 2 was Nosferatu. And then at number 1 was A Real Pain. So, just how much has that list changed as we now fast approach the end of 2025 and go into 2026? I'll be honest with you, there are some movies that I have not yet seen, from the likes of Wicked for Good. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I've not seen Ella McKay. I've not seen F1 the movie. I've not seen Sinners. I've not seen Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning either. And there's some other blockbuster films that got released in 2025 that I've not yet seen. But I promise, though, when I do come back and do my movie wrap-up series from January 2026, you may find a couple of them blockbuster films that got released in 2025 I am going to be reviewing in 2026. And also as well, I just want to very quickly say as well that despite the fact that I will be reviewing some of those missed blockbuster films in 2026, I will be watching and reviewing them. They are not going to be part of my top 20 movies in 2026, okay? Because it's not a film that got released in 2026. These are only films that got released in 2025 that I'm going through, of course. And also as well, I just want to say very quick that, you know, I am going to get a lot better next year at going back to the cinema, watching films again at the cinema, the new releases. I'm also going to try my best to get through as many films that get released on streaming services as well, such as Disney Plus, Netflix, Now TV, Prime Video, etc. I'm going to do my best to try and keep up to date with all them films as well, as and when they do get released throughout 2026. Right, anyway, enough talking from me. Let's go through the top 20 movies of 2025, and we are starting with number 20. Number 20. So at number 20 is SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants. Now, what's really funny about this is the fact that I've not yet reviewed this movie on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. There is actually going to be a few movies on this list that probably I've not reviewed as part of my movie wrap-up video for 2025, partially because of the fact that obviously my movie wrap-up videos have been taking a bit of a hiatus, but they are going to be back from Sunday this weekend, 4th of January 2026, 4 PM UK time is when you can check that out on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. This movie, actually, SpongeBob Search for SquarePants, is going to be one of them films that I am going to be reviewing as part of my first movie wrap-up for 2026. I've got to say that it's really funny because obviously when you look back at my top 20 movies so far in 2025, obviously I had Plankton the movie there. This one has replaced Plankton the movie. Now, don't get me wrong, I do still love Plankton the movie. I thought it was a great film. Obviously, Plankton the movie came out on the streaming service Netflix. But seeing a SpongeBob film on the big screen, and actually this is my first SpongeBob film that I have seen on the big screen, you know, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really charming. You know, it had its own kind of humour, cheesy humour going on. I don't want to talk too much about this film right now because obviously I am going to be reviewing it in my movie wrap-up on Sunday this weekend. But for now, though, it's at number 20.
Number 19.
Number 19 is Superman. Now, you're probably thinking, why isn't this film a bit more higher up on the list? You know, after all, it is directed by James Gunn. You know, it's also a superhero film. And Steve, I know how much you love your superhero films. So why is this so far down on the list? I mean, I'll be honest with you, there is a couple of superhero films in here, which obviously I will be talking about again. But, you know, as much as I love DC, but I do, like, if someone was to come up to me and ask me, really, you know, out of Marvel and DC, which studio do you prefer in terms of movie making? I'm going to say Marvel. But, you know, I still enjoyed this film. You know, obviously it was really nice to see Superman on the big screen. Obviously we are going to be getting in 2027 Man of Tomorrow, which is obviously the sequel to Superman. I will be seeing that in 2027. Obviously in 2026 we have got Supergirl as well, and obviously Supergirl does make a cameo appearance in this film as well towards the end. Spoilers if you've not yet seen that film. But either way though, I really did enjoy watching Superman on the big screen. You know, it is one of those films that I definitely will go back and rewatch again, probably some point in 2026, maybe just before the release of Supergirl. I definitely will go and see that then. But on to number 18 though.
Number 18.
And at number 18, it's another superhero film in the form of Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four, The First Steps. Now, I enjoyed Fantastic Four probably a lot more better than I did Superman, I'll be honest. Again, it's that question of which movie studio do you prefer between DC and Marvel? My question, you know, my answer to that question is Marvel, which is why Fantastic Four, The First Steps is slightly higher above on my top 20 films of 2025. You know, I loved the characters. I loved Galactus. You know, the fact that obviously, you know, the music score as well. The music score, man, like, damn. There's been a couple of times this year where I've gone back and I've listened to the music score over on Apple Music, you know, because it's just one of those films that you just can't help yourself but go back and listen to, you know, the movie soundtrack behind this film, you know. And it's the same with some other films as well that I've obviously watched in the past. Men in Black definitely is one of those films on that list of movie soundtracks I've gone back and listened to for the music score and stuff, you know. But honestly, I really did enjoy Fantastic Four, The First Steps. You know, and I think Joseph Quinn was great in it. So was Vanessa Kirby, and so was Pedro Pascal as well. You know, and again, it had probably my all-time favourite Marvel comic villain in the form of Galactus. And again, spoiler alert here, but I feel as though Galactus could return, you know, in some form, in some future Marvel movie. I mean, the door is left open for that character to return, and I definitely would not be complaining about it so long as they get the character right. You know, the writing, the story is there, the writing is good, and the development of the villain is also really, really good.
Number 17.
Making its way slightly lower down on the list is Final Destination Bloodlines. Some people will turn around and go, I hated this film. Me, on the other hand, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've only seen the film the once. I mean, to be honest, I think there's a lot of films on this list, if not all the films on this list, actually, I've only seen the once. But, you know, for Final Destination Bloodlines, though, you know, obviously, it's one of those films in the franchise where people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Final Destination 4, and I don't like Final Destination 5. But I still have both of them films on digital, because obviously it's part of the Final Destination franchise, of course. And Final Destination Bloodlines is, again, another film that I've also got on digital as well to go alongside that lineup. But, you know, again, is Final Destination Bloodlines a film that I can see me rewatching in 2026? I definitely do think so. Again, I think the deaths are quite creative, and, you know, and also as well, it's Tony Todd's final appearance as well in the Final Destination Bloodline, in the Final Destination trilogy, or franchise more like, sorry. And yeah, I genuinely do think that, you know, his final scene was very moving and very poignant as well, you know. So yeah, so I really enjoyed Final Destination Bloodlines. Some people will love it, some people will hate it. It's kind of like one of those Marmite kind of films, but for me though, I absolutely loved it.
Number 16.
At number 16 is Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, you're probably thinking, why is this film at number 16? Why is this not in your top 10? Why is this not in your top 5? Why is this film not even in your top 3? I mean, I'll be honest with you, okay? I mean, Avatar Fire and Ash, don't get me wrong, I loved the first film. You know, I didn't see the first film back in 2009. I saw it all the way back in 2022. That's when I first watched it, and I did manage to see it on the big screen in 3D. Brilliant. You know, I saw it on the big screen in 2022, just a few months prior to Avatar The Way of Water being released. I saw The Way of Water on the big screen in 3D with my mum next to me, and it's safe to say that we both enjoyed that film as well, you know. And I went back and rewatched Avatar and Avatar The Way of Water recently on Disney+, and it kind of doesn't feel as cinematic or as a big film as it does watching it on the big screen in 3D with a surround sound around you and stuff like that, you know. I think watching it on streaming kind of makes it lose that spark a little bit. But either way though, I have rated Avatar and Avatar The Way of Water 4.5 stars over on Letterboxd. This one, however, spoiler alert for Sunday's movie wrap-up episode, but this one, though, I gave 3.5 stars over on Letterboxd, and I'm going to explain more on Sunday when I do my movie wrap-up video why I've given this film a 3.5 star rating. I will go fully into it, but for me, though, it kind of feels like as if it was a little bit of copy and paste. There was a little bit of repetitiveness in this film as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is still making numbers at the box office. People are still going to see it. And of course, with Avengers Doomsday teaser trailers dropping every week as well. So far, they've had Captain America, they've had Thor, and reportedly, I've seen leaks online recently of the X-Men being in the third teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday that's coming out this week, and it's being attached to Avatar Fire and Ash. But you know, I mean, it's still making numbers, but I didn't enjoy this film as much as I enjoyed The Way of Water and Avatar. But I will, like I say, I will dive a lot more deeper into that on Sunday's movie wrap-up when I do review this film in full.
Number 15.
At number 15, it is Roofman. Now, I loved Roofman, don't get me wrong, I really did. Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst, all-star in this film, as well as Peter Dinklage. And, you know, it's one of those films that I actually saw at the cinema a couple of months ago, and it kind of made me feel a bit nostalgic, you know. It really did make me feel nostalgic because, obviously, it's about a guy who basically steals from companies, but the way he does it is he goes on top of their roof, breaks in from their roof overnight, goes in and steals money from the tills and all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, what I love about this is, I mean, it is nostalgic in a way, yes, because obviously it takes me back to my childhood where, you know, as a kid, you used to go into Toys R Us, and this film is set in Toys R Us as well, you know, and just seeing the Toys R Us store, the Toys R Us supermarket, it just takes me back to my childhood, you know, when I used to go to Toys R Us when I was a kid. You know, But also as well, I love the fact that, you know, Channing Tatum's character in this, despite him being the thieving scumbag that he's meant to be here, but he comes across as like kind of like a likable character, you know. And again, his chemistry with Kirsten Dunst's character as well, you know, I thought that blended really, really well as well. I really enjoyed this film. That's why that has indeed made it onto my top 20 list for 2025.
Number 14.
At number 14, it is Oh Hi! Now, this is a very interesting one because this one stars Molly Gordon. I don't even know if I've actually seen Molly Gordon in anything else other than this film. I don't know. I think I have. I'm sure I have. But either way, though, I actually enjoyed this film. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed this film. I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't want to be on Molly Gordon's, you know, bad books because, I mean, she may turn into this character in this film and she may handcuff you to the bed if you are a dude, that is. But, I mean, that's essentially what this movie is about. You know, this movie is about a woman and a guy, you know, they're getting together. He takes her away on a romantic weekend and stuff. Turns out, he isn't interested in her. He is not interested in her at all. So she does all she can to basically make him, you know, fall in love with her, I guess. But she does it in the wrong way by handcuffing him to the bed. You know, I'm not going to lie, if that was me, I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers, but, you know, if that was me, I mean, that would be a very tricky situation to get out of, you know. Being with a woman, and then, you know, in the end going, hey, I led you on. Ha 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 ha. And then I get handcuffed to the bed, and then she tries to make me fall in love with her. I mean, that's just weird and messed up. But either way, though, it is a comedy as well. It is not just the romance in this, but it is a comedy as well, you know. And that's what I love about this film. I love Molly Gordon's character, you know. I mean, she's a bit of a psychopath, don't get me wrong, but either way, you know, I still loved her character in this, you know, and I thought it was a really decent film. I'm not going to lie, I did think this was a decent film, and again, that is another reason why this is in my top 20. And if you're wondering where you can find this film, it is available to buy and rent on digital. I don't know if it is out on DVD as well, but if it is, go and check your local retailers to go and find this on DVD, because honestly, it is definitely worth a watch. It has got some comedic elements in it as well, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it a lot.
Number 13.
At number 13, it is Predator Badlands. Now, obviously, on my top 20 movies of 2025 so far, I had Predator Killer of Killers. Is it still in my top 20 movies of 2025 so far? Stick around to find out. But Predator Badlands, though, I must say, I really enjoyed this film a lot. You know, it is actually coming out on digital platforms on January 6th, I believe. So it's not long until this is out on digital. And then, of course, it will be available to stream over on Disney Plus early next year as well. So if you have not yet checked out Predator Badlands and you want to check it out, it won't be long until it's out on streaming, so definitely do check it out then. But I did get the chance to see this film in cinemas, and again, you know, Ellie Fanning is one of those actresses in this film that plays two completely different roles in this film, and I think it does work, and it does balance really well as well. You know, and I kind of feel bad for the main predator that we follow in this film. I really do. You know, I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to go into spoilers for this film, but, I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't really like the design of the Predator. Like, he doesn't come across as scary, horrifying, terrifying, anything like that. He more just has more facial expressions, but there are some really lovely scenes in this film for those that have seen it and do know what I'm talking about. But honestly, this is definitely one of my favourite films that I have seen this year.
Number 12.
At number 12, it is Companion, which starred Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. Again, this was in my top 20 movies in July. It stayed in my top 20 movies. Again, like I said earlier in this video, a lot of these films that I have seen, I've only seen them once. I've not gone back and rewatched any of these after seeing them in the cinemas or anything like that. But this needed to stay in my top 20 because I enjoyed it. It was a bit of a sci-fi kind of horror film, and I thought Sophie Thatcher was great in this. Jack Quaid as well. I just love their dynamic, the way they bounced off each other in this film. I thought it was really, really good. Is Companion a film I'm gonna rewatch again next year in 2026? It definitely will be for sure. But for now, though, it is still in my top 20 movies of 2025.
Number 11.
At number 11, it is the 4:30 movie. Again, another film that has remained in my top 20 movies of 2025 after I did my initial list earlier this year in July. Again, this film for me is one of my personal favourites because, there is a lot of movie references in here, and I love the fact that we're hanging out with these guys that love going to the movie theatres, that are into their films, that are massive film buffs just like me, and there's a lot of references in this film that I definitely did understand. I mean, I didn't see this in cinemas. It didn't get a cinema release, a theatrical release, at least here in the UK anyway. But it was on Now TV. It is also available to buy and rent on digital platforms. If, like me, you are a massive film buff and you love your movie references, this film is definitely a film worth checking out at some point during the next year for sure. I really enjoyed this film a lot, the 4:30 movie. And again, it's got that warmth, it's got that kind of comedic feeling to it as well. There's a bit of comedy in there as well. Definitely worth checking out for sure.
Number 10.
Alrighty then, we are in the top 10, and The Roses is at number 10. That's right, it stars Ncuti Gatwa, it stars Benedict Cumberbatch, and it stars Olivia Colman as well. I tell you what, I did see this in the cinemas, and I saw it in a fairly moderately packed out cinema screening, and the amount of laughter that came from seeing this film in the cinemas, it was honestly, there was a lot of funny scenes in this. This film is currently available to buy on DVD, it is available to buy and rent on digital platforms, and of course it is also streaming over on Disney+. So again, if this is another film that you haven't had the chance to watch this year in 2025, I highly do recommend watching it in 2026 or at some point over the next year. But definitely for sure though, I love the fact that we've got Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. They're kind of a bickering couple, really, and they're not really made for each other as such, and they're kind of at war with each other as well. And there is a lot of comedy elements to this film. It is absolutely funny. I definitely do highly recommend giving this one a watch.
Number 9.
And number 9, it is a horror movie in the form of Bring Her Back. Now, I believe this is from the same directors who brought you Talk to Me, and of course are doing Talk to Me 2 as well, the sequel to Talk to Me. But they're back, and they have got an Australian kind of horror film in the form of Bring Her Back. I love this film. I thought it was really good, and it kind of made me at times feel a little bit uneased. There's also the final shot of this film that still to this day, even though I've seen this film once at the cinema and that's it, I've not gone back and rewatched it on digital. But despite the fact that, I've seen this film the once, but the last shot of this film is still ingrained in my brain, I really enjoyed this one. I really dug it, to be honest, and again, there's a bit of warmth, there's a bit of heartbreak in it as well, you know, and I mean, is it the carer, the foster mum? One of the two, anyway. But, I mean, she's so evil in this film. Like, she's really evil, you know. But when you see the story, you can kind of understand why that is the case. And, again, it made me enjoy this movie a lot more, to be honest. So, Bring Her Back is at number 9.
Number 8.
At number 8, it is The Housemaid. Now, again, this is another film that I've only just watched in the last week. And, of course, I will be talking about this during Sunday's movie wrap-up video when that returns in 2026. The Housemaid stars Sydney Sweeney, and it also stars Amanda Seyfried as well. And for those of you who think that I only watched this for Sydney Sweeney and Sydney Sweeney only, then you're correct. No, I'm only joking. I mean, to be honest, of course, it's Sydney Sweeney. Of course I'm going to watch this film. But, not only that, though, I absolutely loved this film. There is a few twists. There are a few turns. It is based on a novel as well. And I don't know whether or not, you know, the novel, because I've never read the novel, but I don't know whether the novel has got that same kind of twisty-turny kind of thing that is in this movie. But again, I don't want to go into spoilers for it because it's only just been released in the last week or so. But the fact that this movie very quickly joined the top 10 movies of 2025 on my top 20, and it's very quickly climbed up there as well in the top 10. You know, I mean, that definitely does say a lot about this film.
Number 7.
At number 7, it is another horror film in the form that is Weapons. That's right. I am still yet to see people outside running around with their arms open, you know, kind of like behind them, like running like, yeah, basically just doing the run from Weapons. If you've seen the movie, then you'll totally get the reference. If you haven't yet seen the movie, then you need to see the movie in order to understand that reference. I mean, to be honest, I did see Off the Hook. There was a video that they did. It was a cooking video they did, and I did see Will portray one of the children in Weapons, and he ran outside his back garden and started doing the weird run that the kids do in the film. But Julia Garner, I mean, obviously she appeared in Fantastic Four: The First Steps as well, but she also appeared in Weapons earlier this year as well. And again, I thought Julia Garner was really, really good. There was a lot of characters in this, to be honest, a lot of actors in this who, you know, I couldn't see. Now seeing this film, you know, if they decided to do this film again, but with the original cast members who, for the life of me, I can't remember who was originally meant to star in this film. But if they went back and did this movie again with the original actors that they wanted to portray the characters in this film, I quite honestly wouldn't have seen this film in the same way as I did watching it with the actors that we did get in this film. You know, and I love the fact that the trailers and stuff, they didn't really give too much away, apart from the kids go missing one night at 17 minutes past 2 a.m. for some unknown reason. And I do feel as though this year, this film gave us one of the best villains of the year in terms of cinema as well, you know. So I really, really dug this film. I really enjoyed it a lot, and this is definitely a film that I can see me going back and rewatching again sometime during 2026, that's for sure.
Number 6.
At number 6, and I'm also going to say at number 5 as well, but I'm going to do number 5 in a few moments. But number 6, these two films, I guess you could say, are number 6 and number 5. They are music related. That's all I'm going to say for now. But number 6 is Miley Cyrus with Something Beautiful. Now, this actually did get a limited theatrical release earlier this year. Did I see it in theatres? No, I didn't. Did I see it on Disney Plus just a few months ago? I actually did. It's not a very long film. It's only 55 minutes. It's actually a visualizer for her album that came out earlier this year called Something Beautiful. I believe the album came out in April, and then her visualizer film for the album came out in cinemas towards the end of May, so around about a month later after the release of her album. But either way though, the songs are pretty cool, the visuals in it are pretty decent as well. However though, I did have one issue with the fact that there was a lot of strobe effects in this film, which I'm kind of glad that I didn't see this in the cinema and I did see it on Disney Plus, because had I have seen it in a darkroom in the cinema, I feel like my health would have not been great after that showing. But either way though, I still enjoyed this. There is some songs in here from Miley Cyrus's Something Beautiful album, which I haven't heard before. To be honest, this is actually the first time in full that I got to experience Something Beautiful album, and I did enjoy it. You know, there are some really decent upbeat songs in here. Really enjoyed it. But that brings me on to number 5, which again is another music related film.
Number 5.
That's right, at number 5 it is One Shot with Ed Sheeran. Now this is actually again a short film that got released earlier this year over on Netflix around the world, and it basically just, us viewers essentially get to hang out with Ed Sheeran for about an hour and 20 minutes, you know, and it's all done in one take. It all is done in one take. There are no edits, nothing like that. There might be a slight edit though, because there is a fast forward section of the film, but that's the only time that the film is edited. There's a little fast forward moment where he's stuck in traffic. But aside from that though, you know, we do see him walking around the streets, I believe, of New York City. He's walking around the street with his guitar, and he's basically playing some of his best songs that we all know and love to some, like, crowded people. You know, he's singing, like, Perfect, he's singing Sing, he's singing Aziza as well, which is a new song that that got released earlier this year. You know, there's a lot of good songs here, and you know what I love is in between that, when we see him walking through the streets, you know, there are people obviously that want to take selfies with him and stuff, and he's always open and happy to have selfies taken with his fans. But also as well, it's just the fact that, you know, genuinely, as he's walking through the street with just his guitar, he's going, "Yo dude, you're right there, yeah, it's great to see you." Yeah, he's like, honestly, he's interacting with passerbyers as well in the street. And I think that's genuinely, if that's Ed Sheeran in general, you know, if that's genuinely what he's like as a person, he would be such an awesome person to hang out with, like, in general, you know. I'd love to hang out with Ed Sheeran for a day. I really would, because he seems like a really nice, genuine kind of guy, you know. So yeah, so One Shot with Ed Sheeran. It is streaming over on Netflix, and again, I do highly recommend watching it.
Number 4.
So at number 4 is another horror film in the form of Together, which stars Alison Brie and Dave Franco. Now, these two are actually a married couple in real life. So to see their chemistry, their married life chemistry on screen, you know, it kind of hits different knowing that they're married in real life. But Together, though, I loved the body horror in this film. You know, the body horror was really decent, and, you know, and I think the story itself, I mean, this is actually one of those films, and I do believe, there's 2 films on this list, actually. As we approach the end, there are 2 films on this list which I have rewatched just because of how good it was. The only issue I had with Together is when I did see it in the cinemas, I had people talking and muttering throughout the running time of the film, which really bugged me. So I decided to obviously buy the film, to buy and keep on digital, And then that same night, I then decided to watch this film again on digital without the distractions around me. And again, it made me enjoy this film quite a lot. So yeah, this is definitely one of those films that I do highly rate, and I definitely do highly recommend watching as well if you've not yet seen the film together.
Number 3.
Okie dokie, we are now in our top 3, and at number 3 it is Liam Neeson's The Naked Gun. Have I seen the original The Naked Gun? No. I know that there's also The Naked Gun 2, and I know that there's The Naked Gun 3. I've not seen any of the Naked Gun films. This film actually does make me want to go back and revisit and look at the original Naked Gun 2, Naked Gun 3 films. Honestly, it really does. I mean, I really enjoyed this film. And I love the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows that it's not taking itself serious at all. It knows that, And I love it. And the fact is we are also now getting this kind of renaissance now where parody films are starting to come back. I mean, obviously this year we got The Naked Gun 2025. Next year we're getting Scary Movie 6, And I'm kind of glad that we are seeing the return of parody films, because in a world where, we need that laughter, I feel like this is the kind of laughter that we definitely do need, is films like this that just don't take themselves seriously at all. Again, like Together, I rewatched this film when I purchased it on digital because I was like, this is definitely a film that I want to rewatch again when I do, when it does come out on digital. It's actually one of those films that it was so good that I honestly pre-ordered the film on digital as soon as I left the cinema, because it was available for pre-order on digital. So The Naked Gun, Pamela Anderson as well was great in this film as well. I really, really dug this film, and this is definitely highly recommended for people who are into their comedies. Definitely do. If you've not yet checked this film out, definitely do give this film a chance.
Number 2.
At number 2, very rarely would I say that at number 2 there would be a film on a streaming service that, is at number 2, or even in my top 3. But here we are. The film that I'm talking about is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Very surprisingly, actually, I'm surprised that, I've seen Jeremy Johns rate his top 10 best movies of 2025. I'm so surprised that this wasn't in his top 3. I'm surprised this wasn't even in his top 10. But either way, though, it is in my top 10. It is in my top 3 movies of 2025. Does kind of make you wonder, though, what is at number 1? But we'll get to that in just a few moments. Now, what do I love about this film? Well, I love the fact that, number 1, it's, I mean, this is 5 stars. I gave this film 5 stars on Letterboxd. When this film came out, I watched it on Netflix. You've got Mia Goth who stars in it. You've got Jacob Elordi who stars in it as well as Frankenstein's monster. And what I do love, Oscar Isaac plays Frankenstein as well. And I loved the acting. The acting from all of the cast members in this film were really, really good. What I also love about this film is the fact that Guillermo del Toro, the director behind this film, has also done his utmost to make sure that there is no CGI or hardly any CGI used in this film. A lot of the scenes that you see in this film, and the film is over 2 hours long, by the way, but a lot of the scenes that you see in this film are pretty much set designs, and I love the fact that the costumes that all the characters are wearing are very detailed and around the time period that the movie is set in as well, and I just love the fact as well that, the cast members in this were absolutely excellent. I could not say a really bad thing about this film. I thought it was an absolute masterpiece. The only problem I had is the fact that, yes, this did get shown at London Film Festival in October, which was about a month before this film hit Netflix on streaming. And I kind of wish now that I got to see this film at London Film Festival. I kind of wish that I got to go to London Film Festival to go and see some of these films. That's something that I definitely would love to do, by the way, is go to London Film Festival. Because as a movie buff, I love to see films on the big screen. So, yeah, so either way, you know, it is a shame that I didn't get to experience this in the cinema. That's probably my only negative about this film, is I didn't get to experience it in the cinema. But I still appreciated the fact that this film is a truly massive masterpiece, you know, and I absolutely did love it. And honestly, my hat does go off to Guillermo del Toro for directing this masterpiece, and my hat does also go off to all the cast members involved as well.
Number 1.
So we have finally got to the top spots, and thank you, by the way, for those waiting to know what was at number 1. You know, I really do appreciate it a lot, but we are here. So you're probably wondering, what is the number 1 film that I've seen in cinemas this year, or I've seen in general this year, in terms of movies being released in 2025? Is it F1 the movie? Well, it can't be that, because I haven't seen that. Is it One Battle After Another? Again, I haven't seen that film either. Is it Sinners? No, it's not Sinners either, because guess what? I haven't seen Sinners in 2025, but believe me, guys, though, some of those films that I've just listed off there, I will definitely be watching in 2026. So, what is my number 1 film that I have seen in 2025? Well, I can officially tell you that the film I have seen in 2025 that is at number 1 is Stephen King's The Long Walk. That's right. I really love this film. I mean, it kind of upsets me that I didn't get to see this in cinemas. You know, I was going through a phase where I just did not want to leave the house or go to the cinema or anything like that. And this is one of them films where it was a missed opportunity to see it on the big screen, to experience it on the big screen. However, though, when it did get released on digital, I purchased it to buy and keep on digital, and I've watched it, and it's safe to say that this is indeed one of my favourite films of 2025. Cooper Hoffman is absolutely brilliant in this film. So is, I believe it's Daniel Johnson, Daniel Johnson. He stars in this film as well. And, you know, again, it's just one of those films that I absolutely love. And, you know, I kind of feel bad that I didn't get to experience this in the cinema, but I am so glad that I did get to see this, because this actually happens to be the first film of 2025 that got 5 stars from me over on Letterboxd as well. So, is this a film that I am definitely going to be rewatching again in 2026? Definitely, for sure, it will be, you know, because I really did dig this film. I really did enjoy it a lot. And, you know, if you've not yet seen this film, guys, definitely do check it out. You know, I mean, the story is pretty plain and simple. You know, these guys, they go on a long walk. The walk is televised. If they stop for a certain period of time, then they die. They get shot. That's just the way it goes. And whoever survives at the end, the one person left walking at the end, is the winner of the competition. But it's not just the story. It's it's kind of the bond, the chemistry between the characters that we see throughout this film, you know. So I really, really dug this film. I really loved this film a lot, you know, and this is definitely a film that I'm definitely going to see again in 2026. And there we go. That is my top 20 movies of 2025. Again, a massive thank you to all of you for watching my YouTube videos in 2025. Regardless whether it's been weekly vlogs, whether it has been my movie wrap-up videos and stuff, I really, really do appreciate it so much. I really do. And believe me, guys, I have got a lot more content coming up for you in 2026, starting with two movie wrap-up videos. One is coming out on Thursday the 1st of January 2026 at 6:30 p.m. UK time. In that video, I'll be going through my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. And then Sunday the 4th of January 2026, I am going to be back with the movie wrap-up video where I'll be talking about The Housemaid, Avatar Fire and Ash, SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, Anaconda 2025, and I'll also be talking about Song Sung Blue and Marty Supreme as well. That video will be coming up for you on Sunday the 4th of Jan 2026 at 4 p.m. UK time, so feel free to check that out then. And of course I will be revealing very soon when the weekly vlogs will be returning to my YouTube channels, SteveOfficial, as well in January 2026. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what movies you've enjoyed watching throughout 2025, whether it's your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, or just like me, your top 20 movies of 2025. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. I'll be back with your top 10 anticipated movies of 2026 on Thursday, 1st of January 2026 at 6:30 p.m. UK time. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.